right, well, let's go ahead and get started. First of all, thank you for joining us. I hope that the last session that you attended was amazing. Sorry about the technical issue we had with the room being full, but we are trying to work that out. So hopefully we won't have that issue again. Let me get started here. So this session is called Get Points with Score. So no matter what stage in the life cycle of your business you're in, you could all benefit from some solid, reliable advice and assistance, especially when that solid, reliable advice and assistance is free. SCORE is the nation's largest network of volunteer expert business mentors. In this session, we'll learn about their free mentoring and online resources and draw upon those who've already made mistakes and learn from them. SCORE is dedicated to helping small businesses like yours get off the ground and achieve their goals. Game changer. Our speaker, Shadid Alizer, is a United States Navy veteran who serves as the first working entrepreneur to be nominated as chapter president for SCORE Greater Baltimore, which is the third oldest chapter in the United States. He serves as a business advisor for seven-figure service-based agencies and his notable projects include architecting the official websites of the state of Maryland, the state of Pennsylvania, and the state of Wisconsin. He is based in Maryland. First of all, Mr. Alizer, thank you for your service and a happy belated Veterans Day. And take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor, a privilege, and a pleasure to share this digital time and space with you. As Vaughn has mentioned, I am Shadid Alizer, and we're going to take a journey on the life cycle of business and how SCORE can help. As was mentioned, I am a working entrepreneur, but the benefits that SCORE has provided me, I'm also going to share how it can also benefit you. So I'm going to share my screen and walk through this presentation, and so that we can gain a greater understanding of what I believe is one of the most powerful yet undiscovered resources that exist in the small business community. So if you can see my screen, type a 3 in the chat. Type a 3 in the chat. Okay, perfect. Let us begin. So in this presentation, we'll cover the who, what, where, why, and how in terms of how SCORE can benefit your business. A common question that's often received is what separates SCORE from other organizations, and you'd be surprised what that answer is. And of course, we're all living through a time of massive adjustments, massive uncertainty, and for many business owners or aspiring business owners don't know the way forward. So I'll cover how SCORE has adjusted to provide that support. And in those lessons, you'll see how you can also make those adjustments as well. And we'll go into specific solutions for the tourism industry to make sure that you leave this session with some golden nuggets of information based on the numerous clients that not only myself has seen, but also in working with the various mentors within my chapter. Now, I want to extend a happy Veterans Day week to all my vets who are tuning in. The military fraternity sorority has provided countless benefits for my life, and part of that is the overall network. And so if you are listening to the sound of my voice, I wish a happy Veterans Day week to you or a service member within your family. So here's the story. Small businesses are the heartbeat of our country. In any community, the small business serves as the economic heartbeat of that community. Small businesses are the job creators, and they're part of the soundtrack or the movie that makes up our lives. You may have gone to the local ice cream shop as a kid, or you may have watched your parents bring home dry cleaning, or you went to the local hardware store to help your mom or dad with projects. What we often miss in those stories are the small business owners who take their knowledge, their skills, their abilities in their crafts and open up their doors to the community. So when you think about where small business fits into the overall framework and fabric of a community, and you take those away, you start to realize how important small businesses are to the story of our lives. And so I personally was raised in a family that was more or less the do for self mentality, where everyone from grandma on down all had some form of business or skill or craft that, although they may have worked during the day, during the evening, those times were spent creating something for the family's growth and advancement. So, small business, no matter if I was in the military, whether, let's say, uh, working a full time job, was always something that if I learn something here, I'm going to bring it back and build something in terms of my ideas. So when it comes to SCORE, SCORE was created to be that partner to the governing body of small businesses in America, which is the Small Business Administration. So the connection between SBA and SCORE is that when SBA was created, it was not intended to be, let's say, uh, a walk-through or a drive-through service where you can walk up to the SBA building and get all the resources. It was designed to be an agency that governs small business. So somewhere along the way, they said, okay, we need a human touch to what we're doing here at SBA. Because if I give you a business plan, for those of you who are tuning in, and you take the business plan and it can have all the steps, fill out this block, fill out your expenses here, you're going to have specific questions as it relates to your journey. Well, I have a tourism business. Maybe I don't need this particular expense block. And then those questions begin to come up. So with SCORE, SCORE is the nation's largest network of certified business mentors. And so the resource partnership is so that you have a human touch, the human element to the documents, the templates, the procedures that are necessary to run a business. So many of us have been to legalzoom.com and other types of websites. And the question is, well, all the information is here, but where's the human touch? And the answer is SCORE. And the beauty about SCORE, as Vaughn has mentioned, is that SCORE is free. But I like to step away from free versus paid and think about our time as being non-refundable. Your role as a business owner is to utilize your time so that you can sharpen your vision, create the policies, procedures to allow other team members to come in to elevate that vision. And with SCORE, you're bringing on a team member who helps you, that sits at the head of your business right alongside of you, to guide your business, to build out that org chart, to operate with vision so that everyone you speak to becomes a potential partner, becomes a potential resource, intern, employee, an advocate for that which you have been called to build. So SCORE centers, there are literally, let's say within my city, SCORE has an office literally within the Small Business Administration. So the partnership cannot be any clearer. So when it comes to procedures, documents, so on and so forth, SCORE is right in tune with SBA. But since it's been around since 1964, has its own partnerships and resources as well. Now, when we talk about the numbers, there's SCORE has served over 11 million business owners. Um, since 1964, but there's 300 plus chapters around the country. So there is a score center near you. And when we talk about, let's say, jobs, 135,000 jobs in fiscal year 2018. And of course, mentoring sessions, 291,000 plus. And with our workshops, 13,000 plus. So there's always something going on within the SCORE organization. And if you're serious about running a business in 2021, you need to get the right guidance in order to continue to move forward. So when it comes to, let's say, speaking from a local chapter standpoint, within the great state of Maryland, we have 6 chapters, but within your particular city or town, there's going to be a SCORE center either close by or within your state or district. What is often overlooked is the fact that SCORE is the nation's largest network. So let's say you live in an area, the Niagara Falls area is one example of this, where there's maybe a 30 to 40 mile gap between certain zip codes in a SCORE center. We have the ability, if you go to the website score.org and enter your information and say, okay, I'm in the tourism industry, I'm looking to build my business plan. You can be paired or partnered with a business planning specialist or a tourism expert or someone who has built a 5, 6, 7, 8-figure business and is part of the SCORE team, and be partnered virtually with those mentors. So geography, especially during COVID, is not a barrier for you to get the support that you need. And what you have to realize is that from the numbers, pure statistics, is that the business owners who have access to mentorship, they stay in business longer, as was mentioned here. 91% of our clients were still at the end of 2019 fiscal year, still in business at the end of the year. And small business clients who procure the services of a mentor and have 3 or more hours of business mentoring have reported higher revenues and increased business growth. I also like to point out that with each SCORE mentor, the level of success, like I said, I'm a business owner myself. And so in joining the SCORE organization, the sheer knowledge of the network itself, I'm often why I'm in awe of the level of talent that exists. Within our chapter alone, there's 56 mentors and volunteers, 22 of which have operated a business that has generated 7 figures or more, many of which have, let's say, either sold their business, exited their business, and now, since they still have entrepreneurship in their spirit, in their bloodstream, they come back to provide that level of give back, support, and also reciprocity for that which helped them to be successful. So who does SCORE serve? And so in many cases, one of the most common phrases or common, let's say, objections that stops people from getting mentoring support is the phrase, my situation is unique. I'm different. You don't understand my challenges. And let me just share something with you. I personally, this is 2020 numbers alone, have been on the phone with over phone, Zoom, in person with over 1,200 business owners. Chances are many of the challenges that you've been through have already been documented, discussed, and solved. And so it's, when it comes to building a business, there's not too many ideas that are 100% original. And let's say your idea is, then the steps that it takes to implement that idea, it's a road that someone else has traveled. And what we do is we document our sessions, and there's a system where we share what has worked, what is not working, and it's a nationwide network. So I have monthly meetings with the district and national meetings with other chapter chairs and mentors to share knowledge and share success secrets and recipes, so that when someone like you comes into a session, you're not playing catch up, you're not reinventing the wheel. It's, where are you? Here's the tools to succeed, and let's get going. So whether you're an early stage entrepreneur, which means you're thinking about starting a business, you may be full-time at your job currently and doing great work, but you have a calling to step in a direction that supports you. Totally common experience. Your idea that keeps you up at night may be something that is unique to you, meaning you are called to deliver it, but the way to implement it is tried, true, and proven. And if you're in your bubble and you're going to work and you're researching online, you don't have the perspective of an organization that does nothing but talk to business owners about their challenges. Whether you are a startup, and one of the biggest questions is, well, funding. How do we get funding for this business idea? Then you can have a mentor who's a banking expert and can walk through your proposal, walk through your business plan from a banking perspective. Maybe you've heard about crowdfunding in your tourism, since you deal mostly with people and building an audience. Maybe you want to do a crowdfunding campaign for a cause or a business upgrade that you support. You can partner with a crowdfunding expert within the SCORE organization. And so maybe you're, let's say, a few years in, let's say you're within the 7 to 10 year mark in business, and you've reached a plateau, or you needed to pivot. Maybe you've had to lay off employees, and now you're looking to find that lightning in a bottle to say, okay, let me supercharge my organization. Let me rejuvenate our employees. Well, several SCORE mentors. It's a gentleman. His name is Norm Bickman, and I've known Norm for 2 years. And one day he casually mentioned that he operated an organization with 25 employees. Now, that in itself, his knowledge was one thing, but his experience of what he's been through, and again, there's layers to many of the mentors' experience. So there is a mentor or co-mentoring sessions for every type of business that you may have. So when we talk about, let's say, COVID adjustments, I just want to cover a few COVID adjustments before we open the floor for comments and questions. And so SCORE is open for business, meaning SCORE is or was a 100% thrive on in-person support. Like I said, within the state of Maryland, there's 6 SCORE centers. And so many of the mentors would go into the office in person. There's very few who were, let's say, majority online. But in the call to shut down the centers and deliver our services virtually, there's been a nationwide effort from SCORE National to make sure that each chapter has the tools that are needed. So every chapter has a Zoom license. So every chapter has conference call capabilities. Every mentor is available virtually. So when it comes to privacy, for example, every mentor, including myself, has to take a annual code of ethics training. So your information will not be shared with online or posted to social media, which is a concern that comes up often. Whether it's Zoom, Google Meet, conference call, whatever your style of communication virtually is, there is a path to support you during this time. You have the option to have your sessions recorded to reduce or eliminate the need to take copious notes. And one of my favorite, if you're familiar with the show Shark Tank, is that SCORE offers a team of resources. So let's say you're working with a mentor who is familiar with business planning, and you specifically want to understand the e-commerce or online payment portions of your tourism business. Maybe you're working with let's say a TripAdvisor or Booking.com, and the fees are just outrageous, and you want to find a way to process payments through your website. That mentor can and will loop in or integrate the session with other experts, and you get the benefit of the Shark Tank of multiple perspectives, providing you with the guidance that you need in order to succeed. So also, we talk about the workshop program. Now, workshops are the primary revenue driver for many SCORE chapters. SCORE has shifted from in-person workshops to a nationwide webinar campaign, and this has resulted in, of course, more business owners receiving training. We also have our SCORE community live stream, which I host on the SCORE National Facebook page, and that's live Q&A, and you have the opportunity, of course, to schedule a follow-up with a mentor. Now, I want to stop the share for a second and transition to Vaughn for any questions that may exist.
All right. Let's see. Any questions from anyone? I have some questions here. So, and forgive me if you covered some of this, but I just want to make sure this is something for, that everyone gets. So what does is there anything special that a small business needs to do, like to qualify for getting help from SCORE? Is it any requirements or anything like any requirements or qualification?
Well, from a requirement standpoint, you need to have an idea. And most importantly, you need to be committed to bringing that idea to life. In many cases, if you receive the right answer, but you're not ready to execute it, it's only going to, let's say, slow you down. So you're going to, when you sit down with a mentor, you're going to get tons of information. So there's no financial requirement. You don't need to have a certain amount of revenue. There are mentors who deal with those who are just getting started, who are in the idea planning phase. So don't, let's say, disqualify yourself, and make sure that you take advantage, because if you go to the website score.org and fill out the intake form, you'll be paired with someone who wakes up every day excited to deal with wherever you are in this beginning phase, let's say establish, and let's say advance in terms of business.
Okay. Another question is about business plan. Do you need a business plan, or that's what you guys are there for, to kind of guide them through that process?
Well, great question. Score.org has one of the most robust template libraries on all of the World Wide Web. Now, you can download several different versions of business plan, from long form to the business model canvas, which is a 1 to 3 page shortened version of the business plan. If you fill that out and you have questions, you can book a session with a SCORE mentor and help you to get through the plan. So it's not a prerequisite to having a session.
Okay, cool. Another good question, and a very true concern, is one of the biggest struggles is handling the minority and women's business enterprise paperwork. It's a pretty serious process. Would there be any experts there that can help with that process? I'm sure that have gone through that and they can assist with that.
Wonderful question. At this time, and I'm actually the spokesperson. This is SCORE nationwide, so it's a coalition of African American business leaders and administrators within SCORE. SCORE as an organization is leading the charge to make sure that women, minorities are to the forefront, especially during this time. So there's a large investment in providing resources, templates, and specific mentoring for businesses, not only to get certified, but to get started from the aspect of diversity and inclusion. I'm personally recording hours of video content with a team, with an entire staff to make sure that not only minority business certification is addressed. Let's say within Maryland, for example, we have what we call business field trips, where uh, there's monthly training on the minority business certification process. Make sure that businesses are identified in terms of here's the prereqs, here's the sessions, and guide them to those sessions where they're able to speak to directly with Department of Transportation and make sure they have all they need to get started. And that is a similar practice around the US because we all speak to each other about what's working.
Cool. Yeah, that's good because the good majority of our membership are amazing, amazing, amazing women who are looking to start their business, and we definitely want to help them uh, uh, with getting that paperwork done because it can be critical to them getting contracts and different things like that. So that's good stuff. So also we have members from, this is my question, we have members from across the globe. In fact, we had attendees from, we have actually about 47 attendees from different countries throughout the world who registered for this event alone. Would our international members be able to access and take advantage of the resources from SCORE?
Well, the short answer is yes. Score.org again is not bound by any geographical boundaries. You can download any template. You can watch any webinar, attend any workshop, no matter where you may be in the world. I personally, as SCORE chapter chair, there's a World Trade Center in downtown Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a program with the State Department where there's a cohort every quarter of international entrepreneurs that I personally go to the World Trade Center, meet in the governor's office, and we do sessions on business growth, how to do business within the state of Maryland and, let's say, Washington, D.C., Mid-Atlantic geographic area. So there's in-person support as well as template library, access to resources, so on and so forth. I will add the caveat that with there are differences in regulations with your particular country, township, province, so on and so forth. So it's always important to check locally to make sure any resources that you're given will apply to your situation.
Now, so basically, they can all access the resources online. It's just some of them may or may not be able to get the actual direct coaching, or is that not true?
Well, through the score.org website, if you fill out the information, yes, you
Okay.
will be assigned a mentor. Just make sure that you explain the situation up front so that the mentor can be prepared. Because if the mentor is giving specific guidance for, let's say, a US based business and that's not communicated, we want to make sure that you're served at the highest level. But all templates, all workshops are available.
Okay. And last question, unless another one comes in quick. So our membership, sort of runs the gamut from those who, with merely just an idea to those who have a startup that's already kind of in motion to highly experienced businesses. And do you guys have coaches and programs that can serve all of those, no matter where they are?
Yes, let's say within our chapter, for example, her name's Jackie. Jackie lives for the people who are just getting started. So she says, send me all the newcomers, people who have an idea. That is what she loves to do. She's let's say, an entrepreneur who's done, let's say, 20 years of instructional systems design and teaching. She loves to teach. So she helps those who are just getting started on to those who say, well, I only want to work with mid-stage businesses who have cleared seven figures. And so there's mentors who deal with, let's say, mindset and scaling businesses at that level. There's someone, and this is a nationwide network where if you are based in Cleveland and you go through score.org or your local score center and you fill out the information, there's always a team who operates more or less like a switchboard. So if someone is an e-commerce expert or a travel expert and they're in Sarasota, Florida, that mentor, as part of the score agreement, is brought into the process, and virtual mentoring session is implemented.
Okay. And then last question. Again, the last question. um, Tell us a little bit, and again, you may have covered this, but tell us a little bit about the experts. Like, what they? I'm sure they come from a variety of backgrounds and a variety of industries. But what kind of qualifications or requirements is set for them?
Well, there is no necessary requirement for to necessarily become a score mentor, because it is a nation of volunteers. So if you have a skill set and you want to be a part of the score organization locally, then you can be, let's say, a person who helps with the newsletter. You can be a person who's considered, let's say, help with the workshops. But for those who are mentors, they tend to fall in the category of, I've provided this skill, I've provided this level of expertise, and I'm looking to give back. Now, in the training itself, there's training is not, well, you have to go through code of ethics, you have to go through diversity, and go through scores processes. If there is one prerequisite, and is the code of ethics, meaning if and I can't stress this enough, I'm a full-time entrepreneur. I'm also a SCORE chapter chair and have been a SCORE mentor. I still do SCORE mentoring. If I was to get in a SCORE session, I say, and you ask me for a business plan, for example, and I say, well, you have a business plan and you want to get this done through SCORE, but if you work with me, it's $1,000 and don't worry about SCORE. I cannot tell you how fast I would be tossed out of the SCORE organization. It would be lightning, lickety split. It'd be
As
quick.
you should be.
And so the code of ethics, everyone is bound to the code of ethics. The code of ethics is not, let's say, non-negotiable, meaning Jim has been with the organization for 25 years and he came upon some hard times. So we'll let Jim sell his business planning services. No, Jim needs to go volunteer somewhere else. And so code of ethics is the standard by which they come through the door. It's annual. Also, diversity training is a must as well. And even in those, in the work that SCORE doing within the organization, it's we always are challenging ourselves to say, are you coming across the right way to ladies, to people of all backgrounds, faith, so on and so forth? And if there's an issue, it's not just one person, there's a committee, nationwide committee, that upholds those standards. So being ex-military myself, I tend to look for structure in things. And the structure, I've always been impressed with the level of discipline and structure that people who want to give back are upheld or bound to within the SCORE organization.
Perfect. Well, I appreciate that, Shadid. I think this is a great resource. Again, I didn't know about it until Karen brought this up as a session idea. I'd heard of, of course, the SBA and some of these other organizations, but this is fantastic. I think it'll do great for our members. We look forward to maybe partnering with SCORE on some sessions and running some sessions from SCORE advisors for our folks. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that and looking forward to them getting this information. And again, appreciate you taking the time today to talk to us and get us familiar.
Oh yes, it's been a pleasure. SCORE is not only working with organizations, but we have a SCORE in the Schools program where we have business mentors. Just imagine this: if you're able to meet with a guidance counselor at the same interval as a SCORE certified mentor, kids today now have that opportunity. And so we're partnering with churches and providing business mentor education and financial literacy to congregations. So it's more so a community effort as opposed to just all about business. So I'm honored to be a part of the organization and to represent its ideals to the group. And again, score.org is your resource to take the next step and get your business going in the right direction or scale to a higher level. I look forward to hearing from you all.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Shadi. We'll talk soon.